In the headlines, a child, 5 persons killed as others go missing in Maiduguri flood. NUC withdraws directives ordering vice-chancellors to reopen universities. TCN restores national grid hours after collapse. Away from Nigeria, 66 die in Bangladesh ferry disaster. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. And now to the details. 5 persons and a child have been killed and a few others missing in Maiduguri floods. It is also reported that 18,406 were displaced and 681 IDP camps, including farmlands, were destroyed by floods in 14 local government areas in the state. The Director General of the State Emergency Management Agency, Yabawa Kolo, in an interview with Trust TV, said its assessment exercise is ongoing and it has already started interventions in the affected areas. She added that the state government in its flood prevention plan has earmarked over 1,000 houses for demolition in Maiduguri.
Fortunately or unfortunately, the volumes of rains this year is beyond the imagination of either my agency or that of the committee. These are some of the factors and reasons that you see that we have such flooding around, and the level of damage it has already created. So, as part of our activities towards preparedness, we have used the media very well. The risks of flooding, flood-prone areas, to do some relocation in their own interest in order to reduce some collateral damages and also damages to lives and property or even loss of life. So this thing worked very well. People have relocated to even school buildings, those that they don't have opportunity of going to stay with their relations around. So these are some of the measures that we've taken.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has predicted flooding in 27 states, including the FCT. Motorists around Jabi Motor Park in the FCT have expressed concern over flooding that has submerged the roads. Usman Bello visited Jabi and files in this report.
This is Jabi Motor Park, one of the major interstate travel parks in Nigeria's FCT. This very busy road that connects Jabi to Utako Market and Uye in Abuja has become a major worry for road users during the rainy season. Motorists say this road at the entrance of the park faced annual flooding, but this year has worsened as a result of the illegal structures were demolished, which as a result blocked the waterways.
So we are here since this road, as it day every day, now so they be every year when the rain started falling. So for this year, because of this demolition that happened here, all the drainage that we are this year, they don't block. Every year don't block.
This place is spoiling our tire, and for a person like me, my tire is bought like 2 for that route.
The road has become a public nuisance for commuters, and those in the transport business say they have incurred heavy financial losses.
This water has been constituting a menace, disturbing my activities, loading and offloading activities for the past 2 years. As we are seeing, it is not the excess damper that constituted this water. We were told from the Liquid Waste Department of Abuja Environmental Board that there's a structural defect from a sewer line that connected Jabi axis to Utako axis.
Authorities have said this year's flooding is one of the worst in over a decade. Lives and properties have been lost, with thousands displaced in some parts of the country. Usman Bello, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And on political matters, the All Progressives Congress APC Presidential Campaign Council on Tuesday said it has postponed the kickoff of its campaigns earlier slated for Wednesday. The development was disclosed by the Director General of the Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council and Governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong. The statement said that the adjustment of the timetable followed the move to expand the campaign council list to accommodate more stakeholders. The governor said that a new date for the kickoff will be announced soon. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission says it has implemented 8 out of the 14 activities on the timetable for the 2023 elections. INEC National Commissioner in charge of Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, disclosed this at a 2-day capacity building workshop for journalists on the Commission's processes, innovations, preparations for the 2023 elections, and critical issues in the Electoral Act 2022. Okoye said that the INEC remains committed to conduct free, fair and credible elections next year. The Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu Rotimi Onyekami, tasked journalists on the watchdog role of the media to strengthen democracy. Now, the need to ensure that the right of girls and women to engage in civil society, vote and be voted for in elections, serve on boards, and make their voices heard in any process that will affect them, their families and their communities is protected has been emphasized. To this end, the Nigeria Orientation Agency is partnering the National Action for Women Agenda to flag off a project which aims to boost women's participation in politics ahead of the 2023 election. Noel Sampson has more.
Proponents of greater participation by women in politics say such engagement results in tangible gains for democracy, including greater responsiveness to citizens' needs, increased cooperation across party and ethnic lines, and a more peaceful society. These and others necessitated the unveiling of NAWA project on promoting peace in Nigeria through women engagement by the National Action for Women Agenda, NAWA, in cooperation with NOA and the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernment Affairs. The Director General of NOA, Garba Abari, highlighted the role of women in politics and the importance of gender inclusion in politics for national growth.
The purpose of today's event is essentially to promote sustainable peace and justice, ensure good governance, and a peaceful coexistence among all Nigerians. It is gratifying to note that NAWA not only believes but also commits to promoting youth and women empowerment, social justice, human rights, and of course campaigns against gender-based violence in Nigeria through advocacy, public enlightenment, dialogue, vocational skills training, seminars, workshops, and conferences, among others.
Stakeholders at the event were brought up to speed with the idea behind NAWA and what it stands for.
Whosoever that want to come up to contest in any area, either as a president, governor, and other various political things, women should be involved. We want the women to be involved 40%.
Effective women representation in politics. Stakeholders believe will increase creativity and help diversify the pool of talent, skills, and abilities. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The federal government has withdrawn its circular, which ordered vice-chancellors, pro-chancellors, and governing councils to reopen the federal universities. A circular on Monday afternoon signed by the Director, Finance and Account of the National Universities Commission, Sam Onazi, withdrew the order asking all pro-chancellors, chairmen of governing councils, and vice-chancellors of federal universities to take note. Earlier in the day, a circular addressed to all vice-chancellors, pro-chancellors, and chairmen of governing councils of federal universities ordered them to reopen universities. But the countering circular said that the initial circular stands withdrawn, noting that further developments will be communicated to all relevant stakeholders. The Transmission Company of Nigeria says that the national grid, which collapsed earlier on Monday, has been restored. The restoration of the affected part of the grid commenced immediately after the collapse. While explaining the cause of the incident, the TCN said it was due to a sudden drop in system frequency which created system instability. TCN's General Manager, Public Affairs, Ndidi Mba, said in a statement that the National Control Center said a full-scale investigation is being conducted to establish and ascertain the cause of the partial disturbance, as this unwholesome event has resulted in aggregated generation loss. Monday's incident is the latest in a series of blackouts in the country owing to the incessant collapse of the national grid. The national grid had collapsed 8 times this year, with the last one coming in July. It equally collapsed in June, March, and April 2022. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has described as false a report in some sections of the media that its case against a former spokesman of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Metu, has been struck out. The anti-graft agency, in a statement on Monday, said by its spokesman, Wilson Owujaren, said that there is no pending case before the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja to warrant striking out of the same as reported. Owujaren explained that Metu's case is presently pending before the Supreme Court, arising from the appeal by the Commission as well as Metu's own cross-appeal upon the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which nullified the judgment of the trial court on alleged grounds of bias. EFCC insists it has no fresh application for retrial of Metu before the court. Owujaren said that the Commission is awaiting the judgment of the Apex Court against the discharge of Metu by the Court of Appeal in the 400 million naira money laundering charges instituted against him. You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at challenges facing spinal cord injury patients. Details of this and more after the break.
Which kind wire you gonna need to light up your light? Oh man, the quality wire. Now which kind cable you gonna need to light up your house? Oh man, the quality cable. Coleman quality. Coleman wire. Coleman durable. Coleman cable. Coleman tank. Coleman cable for any kind of project. Coleman be the come and see. Come and be the Coleman won't light up your light. Come and be the come and see. Come and be the COLEMENA. Quality. Durable. Now come and be the Baba.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Every patriotic Nigerian should hear this. Any politician who means well for the people will never allow themselves or their supporters to engage in any violent, destructive activities. No politician who truly wants to serve the people and develop the nation will encourage his followers to destroy properties or take human lives before, during, or after the elections. The Nigerian public must watch out for these traits and isolate any politician who encourages supporters to engage in violence. No genuine politician or patriot will cause trouble and seek to destroy the very society which they aspire to lead or develop. Politicians who have the good of the people at heart will not allow themselves or their followers to engage in violence, destruction of properties, and then taking of lives. Be vigilant. By their words you shall know them. Shun violence. Stay away from politicians who want you to do so. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NORA.
Welcome back. You're watching Trust News Update. Here's a reminder of our top stories. One child, 5 persons killed as others missing in Maiduguri floods. NUC withdraws directives ordering vice chancellors to reopen universities. In other news, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has vowed to arrest beauticians engaging in the formulation of unauthorized chemicals with the intention of selling them to unsuspecting clients. It said that the Investigation and Enforcement Directorate of NAFDAC has been given the directive to apprehend merchants of these dangerous products and bring them to book. NAFDAC Director General Mojisola Adeyeye, who disclosed this at the 2-day retreat by the agency's top management committee in Lagos, warned that those who engage in abuse of bleaching agents risk skin cancer, damage internal organs, and even death. In a statement signed by the resident media consultant to NAFDAC, Sayo Akintola, in Lagos, Adeyeye warned Nigerians to desist from using unauthorized cosmetics and dangerous chemicals for bleaching of the skin to enhance their beauty. Now, abandonment, immobility, stigmatization, and poverty are the major challenges confronting people that sustain spinal cord injuries in Osun State. This was disclosed during an awareness event organized by Osun State chapter of the Spinal Cord Injuries Association of Nigeria, where emotion-laden messages of hope resonated. Hamid Oegbade files in this report.
One after the other, they were wheeled into the hall to participate in the awareness program organized by the Spinal Cord Injuries Association of Nigeria, Osun State chapter, to draw the attention of people to the plight of members with a view to seeking a way out. A neurosurgeon, Edward Komolafe of Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital, Ile-Ife, in his presentation said people that survive spinal cord injuries are lucky to be alive, and urged their relatives and communities to provide the necessary support for them. One of the spinal cord injury survivors in the state, Christian Abiodun, said majority of the victims of spinal cord injuries were abandoned by their families, while people in the community stigmatized them.
The challenges facing people with spinal cord damage. Number one, most of our people are abandoned by the relatives and the people in the community. Though I really give glory to the name of the Lord.
The vice chairman of Osun State chapter of the Spinal Cord Injuries Association of Nigeria, Olanrewaju Olakusibe, said the essence of the awareness event is to seek necessary action to address the plight of the people living with spinal cord injuries.
The essence of this day, the Spinal Cord Injuries Awareness Day, is to promote public awareness and also prompt individuals on issues concerning our plight.
Dr. Anele Christopher, a neurosurgeon, charged people living with spinal cord injuries to keep hope alive.
Many of them don't survive beyond 1 week after the injury. So we're always happy to see them thriving beyond several months and years of the injury, despite their limitations.
Meanwhile, findings revealed that majority of cases of spinal cord injuries were attributed to road crashes. An official of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Olumide Alabi, cautioned against actions that could cause road crashes to prevent injuries.
Actions and inactions like overspeeding, what we know now, excessive speeding, on the highway, overloading of vehicles, use of phone while driving, use of bad tires.
The event had the theme Life After Spinal Cord Injuries, the challenges, treatment, and hope through research.
The Kogi State government has banned the dumping of refuse in unauthorized places across the 21 local government areas of the state. The government said anyone found guilty will be jailed for 3 months, pay a fine of 25,000 naira. The Kogi State Commissioner for Environment, Victor Mafaye, disclosed this in a statement on Monday. He said that the new Kogi State Sanitation and Environmental Health Law of 2022, signed by Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State recently, will be implemented with immediate effect. He warned the public to desist from dumping waste on the road, median, public drainages, open spaces, or any unauthorized places besides the designated spots in the metropolis. Now, away from Nigeria, authorities in Bangladesh have blamed overcrowding for the sinking of a ferry that has killed at least 66 people, with many passengers still missing 2 days after the disaster. At least 15 more people are still unaccounted for, said Dipankar Roy, a senior government official in the northern Panchgar district, where the boat capsized on Sunday. A 5-member committee is investigating the accident, with initial reports suggesting the boat was carrying nearly 3 times its capacity. The small boat, packed with Hindu devotees on their way to a popular temple, flipped over in the Karatoya River as onlookers watched in horror from the shore near border town in Panchgar. Police said that while some of the passengers managed to swim ashore or were rescued, about 10 were still missing. Passengers said more than 80 people were on board. Still on the foreign scene, Tuesday is the final day of a ballot for Russian-held regions of Ukraine, which the government in Kiev and its Western allies dismiss as a sham. Nearly 4 million people from the eastern regions of Donetsk and Luhansk and the southern regions of Kherson and Zaporizhia are being asked to attend polling stations and vote in so-called referendums on joining Russia. This follows 4 days of early voting, during which allegations of intimidation multiplied as election officials went house to house accompanied by armed guards. And in sports news, Dutch cyclist Mathieu van der Poel has pleaded guilty to assaulting 2 teenage girls in Sydney, Australia, the night before the Men's World Championship road race. The rider was charged with 2 counts of common assault and fined $1,500 Australian after a confrontation with the girls aged 13 and 14. His lawyer said he will appeal against the conviction, but has been allowed to leave Australia after being handed back his passport. And that's a wrap on Trust News Update. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also watch us live on YouTube. I am Ayuba Ila. Thank you for watching. Bye.